Well, we talked to Aditi last week on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and we talked about it. And we talked about what's the holdup, what's the deal with Kevin Stefanski's contract. And she had some unique thoughts on it. Take a look at what she had to say, and we'll come back and we'll opine on that.
I think we all acknowledge and recognize that there are some sort of competing theories in that building, whether a 5-yard run is efficient or not, whether this is a team that needs to pass more or not. What is, I'll use the same word, the most efficient way to score points. There's talk about, there's one philosophy, there's another philosophy, there's the managing of all those philosophies. There definitely was not a concerted, uniform feeling that the entire offensive staff needed to be completely remade after needing 5 different starting quarterbacks to get into the playoffs. After the year that the Browns had, I think that it was not necessarily this completely in concert decision. Oh yeah, we need to rip up everything.
So is that why there's a delay in the extension? Because we keep being told it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Didn't happen in February, didn't happen in March, didn't happen in April. We're into May now. It just, to us as observers, it seems like, what the hell's going on? What's the holdup?
Yeah, but these things sometimes do take time. And I'm sitting here in Pittsburgh, and I know that there's supposed to be a Mike Tomlin extension too.
Aditi, she came on, shout out to her, and make sure you check out that episode. You can watch that on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel. But I come off like this. I give a little bit of pushback, right? And I'll give you an example. This is a personal example from the way I did things before I came and started doing media and different things like this full time. I worked in corporate America, and I was a team leader, and I ran a small team of individuals. And when you're basically responsible for those people in their production and their and what they're doing, you're held accountable as a leader to what those numbers and metrics are. So I'll give you a little story here. When I took over the team, our team really didn't have any really traditional high performing associates. Some of the associates came from different departments. Some of the associates were a little disenfranchised what the company was doing. Some of the people just were passing by looking for better jobs to look and be promoted to other things. So when I was there, they gave me a team full of new people. And basically, I didn't have that many traditionally high volume of performing individuals. So what I did is I came in and I helped motivate people. I came in and still continued to do what I needed to do. I went to motivate people. I went and started off promoting people. I did a lot of things to really promote those and to incentivize their job performance. So I went from a team that didn't have that many traditional high performers to a team that had the top 7 or 8 performers in the entire sector of our business. And so when I went for my evaluation and I brought the fact up that, hey, look, when I was here, look at the performance that these guys were bringing to the table, and these guys were quote unquote the people that that had some issues or people that may have had attendance or performance issues or were low performing, and now these guys were not only hitting the benchmark that you guys put up, but guess what? They're top performers amongst all the other teams. And so when you have, I believe at the time, 7 out of the top 10 performers in the entire business, I expected to come in and get a raise. I expected to come in and say, wow, look what you've done. But on the flip side, I was brought in and we talked about, those 7 performers are doing well. What about these 2 down here? And I looked around and I said, what? I looked around and I was confused. I thought this was a joke. I said, well, I'm thinking I'm coming in here for a reward or a pat on the back or at least a little raise. And all of a sudden you telling me, well, yeah, listen, you got this top 7 in the whole company, but these 2 right here, what's going on with them? And why can't you get them there? And what's doing with, and I was just like, I came away from that meeting thinking, they don't value what I bring to the table. They're not seeing what I'm doing. And I understand that you also always got to go over your strengths and your weaknesses, right? But if you only talk about your weaknesses in a performance evaluation, people are going to say, well, listen, are you being blind to what I'm doing here with the 7 that nobody else could do? Nobody else, no other team leader was getting these guys to perform. I came in and got them performing, and I was right off. I'm new in the role. So what am I going to be able to do year 2, year 3, year 4 if you give me the leeway, if you give me a budget to incentivize, if you give me some different tools in my portfolio that I can use to continue to get better? What about interviewing? I want to be in on those interviews. What about the training schedule? Can we get these guys some training while they're in? And so all of these things I'm looking at, and I'm sitting back to myself in this boardroom like, yeah, let me get my resume updated. Y'all might not understand what y'all dealing with. Let me get my LinkedIn together. Cause y'all cats is really you acting like I'm doing something nobody else is doing. You say, G. Bush, what does that got to do with Stefanski? Well, listen, everybody's being quite naive about this. It's no coincidence that Kevin Stefanski has not signed a deal. And to him, it's a sign of almost, to be truthful to a man, it's disrespectful because he's saying, look, I was able to do something with the Cleveland Browns that nobody else was able to do. I was able to take the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs 2 years out of 4 years. I was the coach of the year 2 years out of my first 4 years. You look around the league and you look around at these other guys who getting extensions, other guys that are getting cachets, other guys that are being called geniuses, right? And I did it with less. I did it with 5 quarterbacks. I did it with the Baker situation. I did it with the Odell situation. I did it when we had everybody out. And so the first thing you do when we sit down for your evaluations is you say, oh, first of all, your offensive coordinator, who's your boy, he got to go. Second of all, we about to bring a new coordinator in. And he going to call the games. Don't tell nobody yet. And by the way, we're not giving you no extension yet, even though you've done all of this. You have this body of work. And so for people to sit and act like, oh, this is a nothing burger. No, it's not a nothing burger. Like, every one of us have sat in regular jobs and felt like we've been disrespected. We felt like we've not been appreciated by the company, that our skill set is undersold, like that we putting in more work, getting less out. Like we putting in the work, we getting people to understand what we're trying to do. But at the same time, guess what? We not getting the respect. We don't have the most pay. We don't got the most anything, right? We just keep consistently putting in the work, but we not seeing nothing on the back end of it. And so am I saying that this situation is going to come to a point where Kevin Stefanski is not going to be the Browns head coach? I don't think so. I don't think that's the situation. We think that Kevin Stefanski is not going to continue to be the coach. I don't think so. I would still lean towards the fact that he is going to get another contract and get it done. But I want to say something though. When you got names around like Vrabel, when you got Schwartz around, when you got some of these guys with big names, don't act like at night that it ain't a 5% or 10% that's thinking like, man, am I really want it? Am I really appreciate it? Especially when you bring in other people in. It's just natural it's human nature. And so for me, I think Stefanski was taking so long, in my opinion, is a simple fact that he's saying, listen, there's certain things and certain guarantees I want in this contract. I'm not just about to sign up for nothing. I'm not just about to sign willy-nilly like I'm thirsty. I'm not thirsty like that. Because I'll play this year out and I'll walk. And he'll get another job. He can pick out the job he wants. Probably either one of the 6 jobs is open every single year through the grinder and the mix, which is called the coaching carousel. He'll get his job he wants. He got the awards, he got the accolades for it. I think there's certain things in his contract that he's not willing to budge on. I think he wants certain concessions. I think he wants certain assurances by the ownership group. And I think he wants certain level of power in the organization, in terms of player personnel, in terms of the direction of the team, in terms of a lot of things. So I think right now he's betting on himself Because if the Browns have a great year and they go to the playoffs, win a couple of playoff games, he's going to get more money, more power than he would at this current point. So I think he's betting on himself, and that brings the conversation full circle.